See, the thing is for me is I had to start meditating, otherwise I was going to fuck my life up. I used to have a heavy addiction to weed, meaning I said I could not go to sleep. I could not go to bed unless I had a zoo, unless I had weed, zoo. It wasn't sleep. It wasn't sleep at all. I was comatose. I was conked the fuck out. And I used this as a coping mechanism for many, many years until I had a psychotic episode that put me in hospital, and I realized I had to do something about this lack of sleep, about this kind of comatose state I was putting myself into. So I started to meditate 5 minutes before bed every single night, and I haven't missed a day since. It is so powerful in getting you into that parasympathetic state, that rest, that digest, and mitigating the cortisol in your blood that is keeping you stressed, keeping you awake, keeping you staring at the ceiling, and not allowing you to get into restful REM sleep. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how you can start to integrate a meditation habit into your life, irrespective if you have sleep problems or not, but it's certainly helpful. So I want to talk about the first one, which is trying to meditate for too long. Many people will get put off very, very quickly and over frustrated by the practice because they just set unrealistic expectations. And this has parallels into any single facet of a goal or a habit that you want to integrate into your life, is overstretching. And there can be this ugly, very competitive nature to meditation in that way. It starts to come into like an ego trip. Or how long did you meditate for today? Oh, I meditated for 20 minutes. Oh, I meditated for 30 minutes. I meditated for 45, an hour, whatever the fuck it is. And I always used to say, and I always say to these people, is that longevity or quantity does not correlate with quality of the meditation, right? There are some meditations that I've got into very, very deep flow states in 4 or 5 minutes. Just because you're sitting down with your eyes closed still for 20 minutes doesn't mean you're meditating. You can be thinking about, what you're going to wear tomorrow, what you're having for breakfast, what you're having for dinner, the things that you need to do throughout the day, and not be meditating. And somebody else who's maybe taken 5 minutes to come home, focus on a meditation object, and go through that process, come to presence, is going to have and reap far more benefits to be able to change their state from fight and flight to rest and digest better than the other person who is just sitting there straining. So my first piece of advice is, don't even start with 5 minutes, start with 2. Just sit for 2, but just be there now when you're meditating. The second is going to be not setting a meditation object or the intention behind your meditation. This is a classic one. This is one that people still do at this very moment. So thinking or not thinking much about, what's going to be the object of the meditation can be a trap for your mind, as it will begin to wander from thought to thought, and you have no anchor to ground yourself in the meditation. And like the latter point I mentioned, you will end up like these individuals whose minds are scattered from left to right, to yin to yang, to up to down, and they will not come back home into yoga, into balance, into equilibrium. So what you have to do is set an intention. What I do before I meditate every day, before I go to bed, is open up my journal, right? I'll do my journal entry, and then the last part of the journal entry will be what is going to be my intention, what is going to be my object of meditation. Maybe it's a particular emotion I want to focus on. Maybe it's anger. Maybe I want to meditate on anger and try to uncover what the root of anger is, and tie that to a particular memory or an event throughout the day that has triggered that emotional response in me. Or perhaps it is a object. Perhaps it is the breath. Maybe I'm focusing on my breath. These are the initial, preludes to pranayama. It's all breath work. So maybe my object of the meditation is breath. But be specific. Where in the breath? Are you focused on the diaphragm? Is that where your attention is going to be, on the diaphragmatic muscle contracting and relaxing? Is it going to be in the abdomen area where you're allowing the expansion, the contraction and relaxation of the transverse abdominis? Or is it going to be your nose? Are you going to be noticing the subtleties of the inhalation and the exhalation, the hairs in your nose. So there are many different objects of meditation that you can begin to give more attention and more focus to when you're doing it. It's an evil trick and a trap on yourself to think that you can just sit down without any intention behind it. If you go into something mindless, you will come out of it mindless. You need to go into it with intention. You have to have something to aim for, otherwise you will inevitably miss. So please, please, please make sure that you have an object of meditation. Another really good one is having a mudra. So a mudra is a hand gesture that you hold the hand in to concentrate on. Some of the mudras I like is this one for peace. I'm sure you're familiar with the power meditation or mudra of enlightenment. Some of the more modern contemporaries like Andrew Tate, Cristiano Ronaldo hold this mudra. There are many different mudras. There's one for opening up the airways as well, which is 2 fingers here, these 2 touching like this. And it's usually easier to breathe. These are electric currents, and they relate to different organs in the body. And when you place them in certain ways, you open up different passages. You activate certain meridians and energy centers, which makes it easier for you to stay in meditation longer or concentrate and do some of that deeper and spiritual work in those domains. So have a object, have an aim, have a purpose to why you are sitting down to meditate. The next one is going to be, and the final one, I'll say, we'll do 2 more. We'll do the third one, which is keeping the spine erect. The spine must be perpendicular to the earth. Humans are the only creatures on the earth that have spines that are perpendicular to the earth because we can access the divine, right? I'm not saying that all God's creatures aren't divine, but we get special treatment, you could say. Many people think that you can meditate lying down. No. This is sleep. This is more visualization territory, in my opinion, because the body has a pattern of behavior in a lying position, which is usually associated with lower brain waves like delta. Delta is sleep wave, brain wave. When you're in meditation, you want to be higher. You want to be in alpha brain wave. And the only way you can be in alpha is if your spine is perpendicular to the earth. You want to make sure your energy centers are aligned from sacrum to the cranium and then beyond that. That's the only way that you can able to access universal mind. You need to think of your spine as an antenna. If you have an antenna for your, I know we don't have antennas for the TVs anymore, but maybe the aerials on your roof, and if it's on lopsided on the side, how are you going to get access to the information? The spine has to be straight. You don't have to sit down on a meditation pillow. Perhaps you can find a chair, but make sure you're not lying back in the chair. You need to be up straight, perpendicular to the earth. That is crucial. This is going to develop your focus. It's going to develop the muscles in your back to keep you in that position, and it will stop you falling asleep and going into those lower brain waves. Remember, meditation is an alpha brainwave flow. Last but not least, just to tie a nice little neat bow on this, is keep your meditation location and environment consistent. You want to create a special kind of energy around the environment in which you are meditating. And this has a physical effect on reality whenever you keep that place holy. So I always do my meditation on my prayer mat, which is also where I pray, and I always associate it with higher levels of emotion, courage, peace, tranquility, enlightenment, love, justice, all these kinds of things I think about when I'm on my meditation pillow and when I am praying. So I keep that place consistent. I keep all the energy there very, very high, above courage, no negative emotion beyond that. This way, you find it easier to get into those higher states of flow, higher states of concentration, and develop a relationship with God, the divine, the universe, the cosmos, whatever you want to call it. So, gentlemen, I hope this was very resourceful. Having a meditation practice changed my life. It allowed me to actually find rest and peace and God. So, it's not a bad trade-off. And also the focus and the productivity go hand in hand as well. But just saying that, pardon me, these are just theories. Take what is valuable, discard what is not. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Take care.